Hey everyone, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. I am a first-time mom pregnant with my rainbow baby due in May of 2020, and I recently announced to the world that I am pregnant. And with that, I've had a lot of questions from you guys here on YouTube and on Instagram, so I wanted to sit down and film a Q&A answering some of the questions that you guys have had for me. And I also just wanted to thank you guys so much for your love and support, and announcing this pregnancy has been really exciting for me, and I'm excited to share this with you guys, and I've just been blown away by the amount of people who have been like, we've been praying for you, and like, just it's truly amazing. And so thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Okay, first question, how long did it take, and did you do anything differently this time? So like I said, this is our rainbow baby, which means that we had a miscarriage, and so I miscarried our first baby in July, and that was the worst time of my life, and it took us 4 months to get pregnant with that first baby, and then I miscarried when I was almost 7 weeks along. Then I found out that I was pregnant again in September, and this time we got pregnant on the first cycle that we were trying. And I really can't believe that I got pregnant on that first cycle. I had a miscarriage follow-up appointment at my doctor's office where my doctor had actually mentioned that I could get pregnant sooner this time, and that was kind of a thing, and I have no clue why, but yes, I did get pregnant earlier. So I remember before, for my first pregnancy, I was taking a prenatal vitamin beforehand, and I also, because of my doctor's recommendation, and I also was testing with ovulation test strips to know when I was most fertile. And so I did that the first time, and again, it took me 4 months. This time, a little bit different, but kind of still the same. The only thing that was different was at my last doctor's appointment, my doctor had mentioned to me, and I'm sharing this out of what my doctors told me specifically, definitely talk to your doctor about any sort of vitamins or medications or anything that you should be taking. Don't just take things because someone on the internet is taking them. So make sure that you consult your doctor for any sort of things that you should be taking. But my doctor had recommended to me to take a fish oil and a vitamin D on top of my prenatal. So I started taking that as well. And then I got pregnant. And I don't know if it was because of any of those things or if that was just to keep me healthier. I honestly have no clue, but those were just additional supplements that I'd added while I was trying to conceive. And then I was also using ovulation test strips to test when my fertile window was. I used the app, let me see what it was. I used the app Glow to track my cycle and my fertile days. What I liked about the app is that you can take pictures of the ovulation test strip, so I can see like when it was getting darker. And also kind of the nice thing is that you take a picture and then it tells you like if that's positive or negative, because it's so difficult to tell sometimes with those test strips if the line is dark enough to be positive or if it's still negative. So I found that to be helpful in tracking that. And so during my like fertile window, the app gives you like a week of your fertile window, and so we would, as they say on the internet, baby dance like every other day during that fertile window. And actually I remember like this time it ended up being kind of inconvenient. Like the most fertile day for ovulation ended up being when Jacob was a groomsman in a wedding, and he was like gone the night before, and then we were there at the wedding all day. So we actually kind of missed it, and so I was like thinking that we had missed the whole window as I was getting like a positive ovulation test strip. So it just must have been like the day before that it like worked out. So yes, first try, very thankful for that. How am I feeling? I, for the most part, have felt pretty good. I've experienced a little bit of nausea, but definitely not as bad as I know some other people have had it. I haven't thrown up or anything like that. I've just had like a little bit of morning sickness and felt queasy. Other symptoms that I've experienced, I now have like a little bit of congestion, and I didn't mention this, but at the time of filming, I'm like 10 weeks pregnant. So I've experienced a little bit more of congestion. I definitely have some acne breakouts that I don't normally have. And I have just been feeling a little bit tired and exhausted. I've been a little MIA on Instagram, and I've also haven't uploaded as much on YouTube just because I've been so exhausted and tired. My husband and I also just moved into our very first house, and so we've been busy like unpacking and doing all of those things. And yes, we totally did move while I was early pregnant, so that was a ton of fun. But otherwise, I am feeling really great, and I feel like I'm now starting to get like a little more energy back, which I'm grateful for. The nausea definitely isn't fun, but for me it's been tolerable, and I've just been eating like really small meals. I don't have much of an appetite, and so I've lost like a pound during this pregnancy. just because I haven't been eating very much, but I've been trying to eat at least a little bit of protein. I've basically been eating like I would if I had the flu, with like toast, and I'll have like a string cheese stick and applesauce. Like cold foods sound good to me. I've been eating popsicles. So those sorts of things, but otherwise I'm doing just fine. The question, are you going to go back to work or are you going to stay home after pregnancy? So for my office, we actually don't get very great maternity benefits. And this is often the case for a lot of companies, especially in the United States. So I actually don't have any maternity leave benefits, but I do get 12 weeks of unpaid time off, which is a federal law. So I can take off 12 weeks if I want to, and all of that's unpaid. Besides the fact that I get to use up any vacation or sick time that I have stored up. So I think that by the time that I'll be on maternity leave in May, so I'm due May 23rd, and I'm hoping that I can go, like, if all goes well, like I really want to work up until like a week before my due date sort of thing. And so if I can work for all of that time, then I should have maybe like 6 weeks available to have paid as time off. So I'll take all of that paid, and then I'll take an additional 6 weeks as unpaid. And then I will have to decide what I'm going to do. At this point, I don't know, and I can't really make any decisions right now. And I just have to keep reminding myself, like, there's still so much time and I have so much time to figure things out. Honestly, I'd love to work part-time if that was possible, but I don't know if that's possible, so we'll have to see. And again, I'm trying not to stress myself out because, again, tons of time. But there's just a lot of factors that go into it, like if my business is growing, if Jacob gets a raise, or, you know, whatever that may be. I think it's really gonna be up until like I actually have the baby that we're going to know what we're going to do. But all that to be said, I really do love my job, and I love the people who I work with, and the work that I do. I really do love it. I would just love some extra flexibility in my schedule and not having to be like at the office. So I don't know what will happen, and there's still plenty of time, so trying not to stress. We'll figure it out. But right now, financially, I kind of do need to work for us to be able to do more than just like sit at home and cover our basic necessities. Next question, how long did it take you to get excited for this pregnancy after miscarriage? So when I found out that I was pregnant, I was happy, but I will say that I wasn't excited. I actually filmed the whole thing. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave it up here. But I was very happy to be pregnant again, but I was very nervous because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't want to have a miscarriage again. And so that was hard and definitely different from my first pregnancy. Like I remember last time, it was like the day that I found out, like Jacob and I were talking about names and like all these things, talking about all the time. And for this pregnancy, we just haven't been talking about it as much. We haven't talked about like names or anything at all. And I miscarried when I was like 6.5 weeks. So we like planned so much, I feel like, in those first few weeks that I know I was pregnant. This time, I just haven't done like any of that. So we haven't really talked a lot about baby stuff, to be quite honest. And it wasn't up until like my first ultrasound appointment that I finally felt excited. So I had an ultrasound at 8.5 weeks pregnant and got to see the baby on the monitor and the heart flickering, and it was awesome to be able to see. And that was a huge relief for me, even though I'd been experiencing all of these symptoms that I wasn't experiencing last time. That was some sort of reassurance to me, but I was still just really nervous. So I think like until I fully like saw the baby on the monitor, that was when it was like, okay, I can be excited about this. And I feel like I actually had someone come up to me and tell me this, but she said like, I don't want you to feel like you can't find joy in this season because of like the fear of last time. And so I'm trying to remind myself that of it's okay for me to still be excited and find joy with this new pregnancy, even though like I am still a little bit afraid. So I think that that's just been a reminder for me, and something that I'm trying to work on and just really enjoy everything that's going on this season. What gender do you want, and will you find out? So I honestly do not care what the gender is. I'm just excited to have a baby and hope that the baby is healthy. I think that there's great things about both. I only have sisters, and so I only know things about girls. I also only have girl cousins. And so like having a girl would just seem like natural and would be like super sweet and precious. Like I'd be all about that. But having a boy would be so awesome too, because it would be something so different and really fun. I will say that I may be a little bit more nervous about having a boy just because I haven't experienced brothers or like anything, and so I don't know what I would do with a boy, but like either way, I know I'm gonna be super happy. So I'm excited either way, and Jacob feels the same. Neither of us have like a preference, and who cares anyway, because we can't decide for ourselves. And we will be finding out the gender, so I am actually going in for a blood test on Monday, and when you guys are watching this, it'll be after the blood test, so I will have already had it done. So I think that it takes maybe like a week or so to hear back from the blood test, but I'm getting the NIPT test, which is the blood draw where they find out like other genetic testing, and also you can find out the gender. So we'll have that done, and we're gonna find out, because I cannot wait until like the birth, or let alone like 20 weeks. I'm like, that's so far for that 20-week anatomy scan. So I am excited to be able to find out the gender here soon. And I will definitely be sharing that with you guys when we find out. So definitely subscribe and stay tuned so you won't miss it. So those are all the questions that I have today. And if you have other questions for me, leave them down in the comments below and I'll check them out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any more baby pregnancy updates. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in that next video. Bye.